I'm not a scholar. I really am not. I get deeply offended when people call me Sheikh. I have like 8 people call me Sheikh today. I don't know, man. Stop it. But it's become a relative term. Everybody's Sheikh nowadays, right?
Today there's a worldwide Islamic epidemic. One who might be a good talker, or possibly even just grow a couple-day-old beard, maybe put on a scarf, maybe even not even a scarf, just put on a kufiya, and go to a local masjid or give a talk or two and just upload it on YouTube. What happens? The man who has sacrificed his whole life in medical school, who knows snippets of Islamic knowledge, or possibly 1 or 2 bits and pieces of Islamic knowledge, the one who spent and sacrificed his life in law school and engineering school, or maybe a businessman, suddenly, he's a sheikh, he's a mufti, he's Sheikh so-and-so. He begins to speak so boldly in matters of the destiny of this ummah, the Sahaba and the 4 Imams would have backed away from.
But understand, there's a difference between people that are somewhat knowledgeable, that may know a little more than you do, and actual scholars, actual research scholars, you know? And we have to show respect to that. Nowadays, the standards of Islamic studies have dropped so much that we are willing to call pretty much anybody a scholar.
Sometimes it starts off innocently. That's the truth of the matter. He teaches, he knows some good hadith, good lecture, good khutbah he gives, and he conveys it, and it starts off good. Or he goes to a non-Muslim community, he conveys a lecture, invites them to Islam. That's good. But some don't know where to stop. Suddenly after he speaks in the local community and begins to wear his kufiya out a lot, and then a few-day-old beard, or possibly sometimes you go to Hajj and come back and he's a sheikh and a mufti from going back to Hajj, or go to Medina for Umrah and come back, or he went back to Medina. What's his knowledge? What's his sheikh? Oh, he went to Medina. How long did he stay in Medina? 3 weeks. What did he get in 3 weeks?
And even the institution, I'm going to just say something bold. I just have to say what I feel, what I'm convinced of. The academic standards of many Islamic institutions in the Muslim world that are supposedly producing scholars have dropped dramatically. They have dropped dramatically. I've met ulama, for example, from Egypt, or ulama from India, that are like in their 80s and 90s. And when you ask them about the same madrasa they graduated from, what do you think about it nowadays? They say, what we did in before we got to the madrasa is the graduate now. You know, the standards have dropped. I met an alim from India in Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio. You know, I didn't know he's an alim. He just, after the seminar, he just starts talking to me. He's quoting the Zamakhshari, the linguistic, tafsir of Quran. He's quoting it but from memory. He's just talking to me, and I was like, where did you go to school? That's incredible. He knows like thousands of lines of Jahili poetry by heart. This Indian scholar, right? And he's just chilling. He lives with his grandkid. He's not an imam or nothing. He's just a guy, hanging out, uncle. We call him uncle. And he says, yeah, what we did in the first year, now they do in the 9th year. They do in the 9th year. The standards have dropped. The standards of what is considered a scholar in many institutions is dropped. And in some institutions it's scary, wallahi it is scary. I have met people from institutions that have graduated, that are touting themselves as imam and sheikh and scholar, and are saying all kinds of ridiculous things. But when you sit them down with an ayah of the Quran and you say, can you explain this grammar to me please? How do you get the translation of this? Nothing. When we become shallow in our study of our own deen, when our own deen studies, and those who are supposedly our leaders, their studies themselves are shallow, they're nothing more than empty rhetoric, then we're all in a heap of trouble.
The problem is, people don't know their limits. Now, in this day and age, you don't ask, where's the sheikh? You ask who's not the sheikh. You just present a question, Islamic question in any field, in any surrounding, and just see the people. And see who will say, well, Allahu A'lam. Let's consult the sheikh, see how rare that is.
All of you need to be pursuing knowledge of Islam. But know what the limits of that knowledge are. Know that you don't know everything. Know that فَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. There's someone above, someone who has more knowledge above. Somebody on the way here, I was asked about, whether we can combine Maghrib and Isha. I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to answer a fiqh question. I'm not a faqih. I'm going to know my limits. Young people have to know their limits. When you're young, you think you know everything. I was there too. I've been there. Believe me. Thank God those videos are not on YouTube. So, right? So, That's a really strong bit of advice I have for you.